Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Sip Something Sunday. This is your host, Nika, and today I have with me one of my favorite people, and that is Miss Samone Bland. Welcome to Sip Something Sunday.
Thank you, ma'am. Good to be here.
Thank you for agreeing to come in and chat with me.
Always.
How long have we known each other now? Almost 20 years. Yeah.
Let's see. I think it was like my junior year of college we met. So that was like '09, '08.
Oh,
So
wait.
yeah.
Been a long,
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
it has.
So, as just before we started recording, you were talking about that you've already cooked for the day. What did you cook?
Just some beef and broccoli. I kept it simple today.
You're always, I like watching whenever you post your recipes because of course you post like the normal stuff, but then every blue moon you'll try something different. A few days ago you had your first poke bowl.
Yeah, I like Lowe's. I found out they sell sushi grade fish. So sometimes they'll have tuna, sometimes they'll have salmon. And they
Hmm.
had the tuna, and I was like, I did the salmon last time, but I just ate it by itself. And I wanted to try to make sushi rolls. So I bought like the nori and all of that stuff. But then I got lazy here trying to figure out how to get this roll perfect. So I was like, oh, I've got some stuff to make a poke bowl. So I made the poke bowl. Just marinated the meat, marinated the cucumbers, the carrots, took some rice, some sticky rice, add a little rice vinegar, some sugar, some sesame oil, and then just put it together.
Okay. All right. I I've never had one, which is weird because I like Asian cuisine. Uh,
Yeah, I love it.
I might have to try me one. Now I love there's this place in Knoxville called Sticky Rice. And I love going there. They have amazing food, but I've never had um is it pokey, poke, poke? I've seen it pronounced all three ways.
Girl, whichever way, because I don't really know if I'm saying it right. All I know is it goes in my stomach and I like it. That's pretty much it. I know I mispronounce probably a lot of stuff because I don't really hear it. I read it, and sometimes people when they mispronounce things, it's because they read it and not actually heard it, which is fine because you're reading. But I've been calling it poke,
Okay.
which I've had them before, but that was my first time making my own poke bowl. So
But it was good.
it was good. I'm not to toot my own horn, but beep, it was good.
You've been cooking. I feel like your kitchen skills have grown a lot lately.
Girl, whenever my Facebook memories come up and I see some of the stuff I used to post and be so proud of it, I was like, oh, I have come a long way. I've come a long way, which is crazy because growing up, you would have never expected me to be the cooker because I was always outside. I was always playing just a tomboy. Even though, like, I will say, when it comes to like dolls and kitchen sets and stuff, I play with myself a lot more than my sisters. Like,
Hmm.
I was very into it, but as I got older, it was just more like I'm outside playing baseball, I'm playing basketball, I'm out there running with no shoes on, racing the boys, doing whatever. And when I got older, like the weekends, I was always off at a tournament. So I'm playing ball. I'm not home. I'm not worried about doing that stuff. And I didn't really start to learn how to cook until after I graduated college. And I'll say the same for my brother because he's an athlete too. And he's a dude. So you just don't expect it, but he enjoys to cook too. So
Brian can cook.
I don't want to toot his horn. I'll tell him it's nasty, but he all right. He all right. He pretty nasty on the grill.
Oh,
So
it's really funny. Every time I hear Brian's name, I laugh because I'm not going to say his last name, but you know it. But that's not his name on Facebook. His Facebook name is his first last name. And there is a Brian with his last name that always asks and he gets me every single time because he'll ask to be my friend, and I'll friend him thinking it's Brian, and then I'll get a message, and I'm like, this is Brian would not message me this. Then
I know what you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
and then I'll unfriend him. And then like maybe 2 years later, it happens the same way every single time. And the last time I'm like, listen, the reason why I accepted your request, that person would not talk to me like that. So just don't like, come on, it's enough. Like I'm just gonna delete you again. And next time, hopefully I'll remember because in my old age I forget a lot. But yeah, it's every time his name comes up, I just chuckle because I'm like, this fool gonna get me again. I know they are.
Dudes don't know how to take rejection, man. Sometimes I don't even check my inbox just because I mean I could just delete it and keep moving, which sometimes I do, but like if I've not responded or if I accidentally opened it up and you saw that it was read and there was no response, don't message me again.
Right. There's that.
So I don't even check it. Some people will go, well, I sent you this on Messenger, and I'm like, to be honest with you, because it gets weird in my messages. It really does get weird in there. I have some people that send some stuff and I'm like, why would you send me that? So
Listen,
I just avoid it.
I have decided that the next unsolicited pic I get will go viral. But I guess that energy is in the air because I haven't gotten one. It's been a minute, but I'm just like, why? What on earth would possess a person to do that? But I guess it's a thing.
And that makes me wonder like what type of image I give off on Facebook for you to think I would like this.
It's not you, it's them.
Like I'm like, do I give off side chick? Do I give off like a
Yeah.
whore? Like what do I give off for you to think I'm okay with this? Like,
No, I think because of the world that we live in, I think people automatically assume that women are lonely if it's not obvious that they're in a relationship.
let's see,
And
yeah.
I think because unfortunately, the patriarchy has decided that in order for a woman to be whole, she needs a man. Um, and if she doesn't have one, then either there's something wrong with her, or her life is lacking, or there is something wrong with her and her life is lacking. And so I think that men who subscribe to that thought process want to be the ones to help us out.
Like, and some of them is like the audacity, sir. Like, I'm not ages at all, but why? Is it because I post Stevie or I post like the old school singers that you think we have something in common? Like, I don't know. I get asked this question all the time. Like, when you talking to anybody? Like, I'm very private. I've always been very private.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I just because I see so many people, married men, men in relationships that are lovey dovey in the public, but then they're in your inbox. I don't want to put myself in a situation where somebody's coming to me as a woman, which they should never come to me. They should go to him. Because if I'm messing with you, I'm just assuming you don't have anybody. I'm not going for anybody that has somebody.
right, right. But
So
you
it's just easier just to keep myself out of that situation.
I don't remember what um I don't even remember where this came from, but I feel like people are more interested in you um A when they think you're completely alone or B when they know you have somebody.
Yeah,
It's like there's no in between. But you are an old soul, so I that's probably why the old men are in your inbox, but whenever I always think about when people say if you mess with old men, you're gonna get worms. So I always
girl, I just said that the other day. I, s- I was telling Tori, I was like, I don't want worms. I said these old men.
But so you are an old soul. A, people think that you're single, so that's why. But I feel like just because you think these things, there should still be a way to approach the situation. And I think we do live in the side chick era, the Instagram model era, and nothing to the side, nothing against the side chicks and the Instagrams. But we do live in that era, so I think that things that were super taboo even 10 years ago are just open now.
Yeah. I always tell people like I don't believe in the concept of a whore. I believe people are sexually free.
Hmm.
The only time I would say somebody is like a whore male or female, but usually they're going for females for women, is if you have someone believing that y'all are exclusive, but then you're still messing around with other people,
Yeah.
then you're a whore to me. But if you tell this person, hey, look, we're doing our thing, but I'm also doing my thing, baby, you just sexually free. You just free.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, and then we've lived in a world for so long where men could do whatever they wanted to do, whatever they wanted to do, and then the minute the women tried it, our name immediately changed. You know what I mean? A man can screw everybody in town, have babies all over, and he's still a man. A woman, it's always a conversation about the body count, which is crazy to me because at the end of the day, she was screwing somebody. So why don't we have the same energy for the guys? What's your body count? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's like when Betty was like, don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie's just a man. Stop letting him off easy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
we
all in our music. Stop letting them off easy.
think. Yeah, because that was Betty Wright who said having a
Mm-hmm.
man is better than having no man at all. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Uh-uh.
No, ma'am. Which is another thing too, because people just expect because you're getting older. I'm on the other side of getting to 40. And they think, well, you just got to get somebody. I don't. If I just end up by myself, it is what it is. I enjoy myself and company with myself. I do things all the time. I'll go to a concert. Usually 95% of the concerts I go to, I am by myself.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
You will get up and go. You
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn to do that because there was a couple of times when people would go, yeah, let's go. And when tickets go on sale, I can't find them.
mm-hmm.
And so that happened to me like a couple years ago. And it was Anita Baker. That was the first show that I went to by myself. And the person was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And then like when the tickets went on sale a couple days, and they never responded, I just went ahead and got my ticket and just rode out by myself.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Otherwise, I would have missed it if I had like kept waiting. So I just got used to it from there. So
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. What was I about to ask you? How did you get any of your mom's reactions from the New Edition concert?
I did. I did. She just didn't want me to show people. Like I shared
I
it in our family group chat, but
figured.
she smiled the whole time. The whole time.
I'm so happy y'all did that. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall. I bet you couldn't tell her nothing.
Could for a week afterwards, it was yeah, because Ralph. I'm like, man.
Now
And
tell
I had to joke with her because I like New Edition. I like Boys to Men. I'm a really big Tony Braxton fan.
yes, you are.
So, so wanting to see Tony again, because I've seen her before already. But just like a couple months before New Edition announced the tour,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Mama and I was like, "Is there anybody like you would want to go see?" Because I was naming people I wanted to see that I hadn't seen yet, and she was like, "No, New Edition. I would like to see New Edition." And so when the tickets popped, they popped up, I was like, I should just surprise her like I did with Janet a couple years ago. I just bought the ticket and surprised her. But we were getting ready to go to a group of us. We're going to see Brandy and Monica,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I asked a couple of the people because there was someone in her age group that grew up with her. I was like, would you be interested in going to see like New Edition? Because I just eventually told her, and she was like, it would be nice to go with somebody that like I grew up with so we can experience together. And so I asked and I put it in the group chat, and up until like a month before the show, everybody was gung ho about it, and then everybody kind of faded out, and it was just me and her. So we actually ended up with tickets like behind the stage because that's pretty much the only thing that was left.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a good experience because the whole front row in front of us didn't show up, and she's kind of got bad knees, so she was able to sit the whole time and enjoy everything without having to look over somebody. Because usually I'm on the floor, I'm in like the first 10 rows. If I'm sitting further than back than that, I'm like, but because we were able to like set up there, it worked out for the best. And we got to see some behind the scene things like seeing them come off the stage and all of that stuff and getting ready to go on stage. So it was a different experience for me. But I told her, I was like, I just messed with her the whole time. I was like, Tony was the only reason why I came anyway.
Now tell her we might have to fight over Ralph because that's my man too.
She'll fight you for him because it was Ralph. I'm like, yeah. But they
Nice.
put on a great show. Like for all of them to be 50 plus, it was like 3 hours of like nonstop entertainment.
Last time I saw them was it 22 or 23? In Houston with Charlie Wilson.
Like a child.
Now he gave a good show too because he bought 90. I'm playing. I'm playing on guitar. But it was a good, it was them, him, and Jodeci. And that was, that was pretty good too. That
Oh,
was
that
a
was a lineup. That was a lineup.
good show. Then uh Glenn all the time because I will say, because I've seen Beyonce twice. We always go to the shows I want to go. So Leela James was in first she was in Nashville. And then she was in Chattanooga, and I hated it because it was the same night of Bubba's concert. But I didn't know she was so tiny. But I like her voice, but I'm not like a fan per se. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it's cool. But he really enjoyed it, so that was cool.
I saw her uh maybe about 10, 15 years ago. It
Mhm.
was her, Raheem Devon, and Lettucey together.
I bet that was a good show.
And I really didn't know like any of their music, but I knew they could sing. So if you go to somebody's show and you don't know their music, but they can sing, you're gonna enjoy it either way.
Mhm. Yeah,
But that I had seen her a couple years ago, and it was a great show. All three of them vocalists, so it sounded good.
yeah. It was really a good show. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
All right, now tell me about Miss Simone Sings the Blues.
So I fancy myself as a poet, and for a couple years I've been like working on a book, but I don't have the discipline like I should.
Mhm.
And I know I've heard some writers say you can't always write when there's inspiration. You just have to write. You have to treat it like a job. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to get into the habit of treating it like a job. Like, okay, I need to sit down for an hour or two and just write.
Mhm.
But it's a collection of poetry. Um, I'm a Nina Simone fan, and my name is Simone. And she has that album, Nina Simone Sings the Blues. So it's a play on that, Miss Simone Sings the Blues.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I think I texted you like a couple months ago about like how I've switched the theme of it because I love music. I want to make it like an album because I just can't figure myself to get 30, 40 poems that I think are good enough to publish. So I want to make it like an album where there's like 15 tracks on it.
Okay.
And so I have 15 poems. And then I write haikus too. So the haikus can be like the interludes because, I'm a big Janet fan. Janet is the queen of interlude. So I can get more poems in there. So I feel like maybe 20, 25 poems or what it'll end up being. Kind of like a chapbook, but like, so that's what that is. That'll be my first collection of poetry that I've been working on.
Okay. Because I will say I have been on you to start. Like every time I think of you, I'll just be like, get back to writing. Because I feel like you're an amazing writer.
Well, I appreciate that. I have one of my high school coach. Every time I see her, she goes, "Are you writing again?" I'm like, "Nah." She's like, "Wow, you were so good." Because I used to write for the paper. I was a sports reporter.
I remember.
So I cover like the high schools and stuff. And she's like, "You were so good." And I'm like, "I know. I don't know. I don't know what it is." When I work at a bank, and before I went to the bank, I coached for a little bit and I was working for the paper. And the sports editor called me on one day to have a conversation with me. And I was like, "Well, the editor just offered me a job. They offered me a job at the paper." I was like, "But I just got offered this job at the bank too." He told me to go to the bank. He was like, "Go to the bank. The benefits are better. The work life balance is better. Plus, at that time, it wasn't as bad as it is now because print is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
and it was kind of on its way out then. So I think he saw it because he was actually about to transfer somewhere else too. So he was leaving the paper. But I do want to get back into writing. Sometimes I'll see a topic because I used to have a blog and go like, man, I should sit down and put my thoughts together on this. And then I just get lazy and don't do it. So I think discipline and consistency is the biggest thing for me as far as that goes.
Vibing courtside.
Yes.
I remember. I I think I do not consider myself a writer, but I do, I am published. But
I look, but hold on, just before I forget. Funny enough, your first novel, do you remember you sent me the manuscript through email?
uh-huh.
I still have that email.
Wow. I so like I said, I don't consider myself a writer, but what I do just like as the unprofessional, I don't care if like when I went to Italy, even when we went to Chattanooga, I take my notebook with me everywhere I go. Um, just for two reasons. A, if I get a thought, like if I experience something that I feel like I would want to add to the book or I would want to write about later for another chapter or another whatever, I just want to jot it down. Um, B, I don't think I sleep a lot. Like I physically lay down in bed, close my eyes, all that stuff. But um, even in my sleep, I feel like my mind is just going, going, going. And so if I have a thought, I want to be able to remember it. Um, so as soon as I get up, and I also keep it by my bed. So as soon as I get up, I'll jot down whatever. And then whenever I am in a place where I can write, I go back to the stuff I've jotted and then I try to add it and I see where I can add it or if it's something I can use for later. Just a thought.
I do that at work. I have scrap pieces of paper, and
Mhm.
if something comes to me, I'll write it down. And I remember Toni Morrison said something like that when she was writing her first book. She was like, I'd be in traffic and I'll sit there and I'll write a couple of lines, or in the morning before my kids would get up. So it's just I will write that stuff and then I'll get home and intend to go over and like add to it. And
Mhm.
then I just don't. Like I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
working on it though. I'm working on it.
it'll come.
Yeah.
And when it comes, it'll be just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Do you think you will completely bring back Vibing Courtside?
I think I will. I think I will. I thought about maybe doing a podcast, but then I was like, I don't know how it would sound, how I would carry it out. So I was gonna maybe do that,
Mm-hmm.
do it in the in the vein of a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think I'm better at just putting words to paper than speaking. Like I don't consider myself a great speaker, but I have people like I've been invited a couple of times. Like I just spoke to my niece Anaya. She
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to come in and speak to her leadership class. And when I left, she was like, "You did really good." And Kavion was in there, and Kaya, like they were in the class together.
Okay.
And he was like, "I actually paid attention today because you were talking." But my niece was like, "Yeah, my teacher, I could tell like she really enjoyed it." She was like, "The students asked more questions today than they have all year with all the speakers and stuff." I've given little talks to some of my classmates and my friends. They have like their teams, they coach and stuff. So I come out and speak to them. So I don't people consider me a pretty good speaker and stuff. I just gotta have that confidence in myself, I guess.
Sometimes it's not about how well you speak, it's about the message. But I think you're a good speaker. Like you like to articulate your you you are methodical in conveying what it is that you want to say. So sometimes you just got to have the belief in you that other people have, because I think that's the biggest thing for you. I think you know that you have the talent, but I think you doubt yourself.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is like the doubt. Like, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's something this year where I'm like trying to do stuff that I don't usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Like like last month, one of my friends reached out to me. She had another friend who did a mental health exhibit,
Mm-hmm.
and they were looking for like artists and poets and stuff. And she was like, because I went and did an open mic night at one place that she does karaoke, and I read some of my poetry. And she was like, I thought of you. Do you want to submit something? So I submitted something, even though I was like, I don't know. And then I ended up going to the exhibit by myself. Now, any other time I would have been like, I just submit it and I keep moving. But I pushed myself out of that comfort zone because I was one of the few one of us there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, some of the vendors and stuff didn't give too much of a welcome. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel the greatest.
Right.
But I was there and I appreciate myself for going. Like,
I think if we wait to be accepted or welcomed, we'll be waiting forever. Um, because even sometimes, because I feel like that was why I stopped my first podcast for a while, because I think it's like 2 years in between my last podcast episode and my first one. And if it wasn't 2 full years, it was very close. Um, but because I just, even though I would get a little, like people here and there, but I felt like because of where I'm located in my community, some of the things that I wanted to talk about, it really wouldn't reverberate with the people that were most around me. And when you're starting out, whether it's a blog or page or anything like that, I think we rely on the people we know to push us forward. But in reality, you just got to do it. You know what I mean? Because some people just ain't gonna never. That was a completely bad English, but some people just will never give you the push that you need them to give you or you want them to give you, if that makes any sense.
yeah, it does. Because you look for people closer to you to be your biggest supporters, and sometimes they support you in ways that maybe they don't buy it, but they'll share something
Right.
or they'll give you a word of encouragement. Like there's different ways to support, and I think everybody has one mindset of what it is to support.
Mm-hmm.
I also think a part of it is the fear of looking stupid. Like I post something and it gets no likes or no comments, then you feel like, well, why did I do that?
Right. Right. I, yeah. And I think sometimes we've gotten away from being like authentically us because everybody's looking for that moment to go viral.
Mhm.
But I feel like you just got to let it flow naturally, and what's supposed to happen will happen.
And it's kind of crazy to me that I feel that way because I've always been myself.
Mm-hmm.
What I like is what I like, and I don't care to a degree. Like unless it offends somebody, then I'm like, let me pull back and see why it might offend somebody. But I've always been my since childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I've been myself. If you think it's weird, when I was young and they used to call me white girl because I was all into the boy bands. They were my favorite artists. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Britney Spears. So I've always just been myself. So it's a little weird to me that I'm having hesitation on putting that out there because I'm going to be myself regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see on Facebook, I post stuff and it's me. I'm not trying to impress anybody. It's just how I feel, what I like, what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. But I think being yourself and being accepted by your family and being yourself and then having the world um wanting the world to accept or embrace you, that's to me that's different. So I
Yeah.
kind of get it. You know what I mean? Like I get it because
Yeah.
your family is going to love you regardless. Even though we all have moments, they're going to love you regardless. So it's easy to be yourself with the people who don't have nowhere else to go.
And they expect it from you too. Like,
Right. But when you are, especially, and I say it all the time, a couple, because I am literally the only, no, it's maybe one other black girl at work. Yeah. But in my building every day, I mean, I do know other black people that work in the company, but I mean here. But they laugh at me all the time because I'll just like randomly say, like, it's hard being black in America. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
there is an expectation of us from black people. There's an expectation of us from, non-black people. And so you are always, as much as you love yourself, as much as you may embrace your uniqueness, I feel that there's always the worry of people expecting you to be something other than what you are.
especially black women. And
Mhm.
I'm the only black person at any of the bank that I work at. There's about four or five around here. I'm the only black person.
Which is crazy.
But I've had managers tell me, and this is another thing where them putting everybody else's feelings on you. Where if some days I come in and I don't want to talk, I don't feel like talking,
Hmm.
and it makes somebody feel bad because I don't want to talk to them. I'm like, well, it's like Cat Williams said, if I'm messing up your self esteem, you got something wrong because it's called esteem of yourself. So like, don't put that on me because I don't feel like talking. And then I've had managers tell me, well, I feel like the branch kind of goes as you go. Like you keep the energy, you keep the joke, people follow you. You're a leader even if you don't want to be. Which I mean, I get like, I don't know, maybe it's the Libra because you're kind of like natural born leaders, even if you don't want to be.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you can't put that responsibility on me. It's unfair to.
Right. Because that, and not only that, why do I have to be the one to carry it? Sometimes I need to be carried.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't feel like joking all the time. I don't feel like laughing all the time. I'm not a jester where I'm the comedic relief. Sometimes I don't feel good, or sometimes I'm just having a day. Like I'm not rude about it, but I just don't feel like laughing, or. And I should have that right to.
100%. 100%. I was going to ask you, I literally just had a question I wanted to ask you. What are you listening to right now? As far
Today I listened to Snow Allegra
who is,
and
who is that?
um it took me a while to be honest with you to get into her. I don't know what she is exactly. She's not black. Um I say she gives Alicia Keys vibes,
Okay.
like early Alicia Keys vibes. She has a song called Want You Around, and it's really good. I'm weary of non-black people in R&B spaces and stuff
Hmm.
because I think sometimes they're mediocre, but because they look a certain way, we welcome in so many people into our spaces
Hmm.
that we wouldn't give our own self a pass for.
I agree.
Like they can do the most basic, have the most basic of voices, which I think her voice is pretty basic, but the album is good. I'll send you the link to it
Okay.
whenever we get off the phone. But it's nothing that other R&B singers haven't done before.
Okay.
I just like the song. Tidra Moses, I listened to her this morning.
Okay.
That's from like early 2000s. Um, and then I've been on Lauryn Hill's Miseducation
Yeah. That's
over
all.
again. Like I got the vinyl, and vinyl forces you to listen to the album the way that the artist intended you to listen to it.
Hmm.
So sometimes I'll put myself on because I'm always listening to music, and I'll just have it on shuffle so it doesn't play in order. But I play my vinyls a lot, and that forces you to listen to it in the sequence that they want you to. And I'm like, man, I forgot how good this was just as a straight playthrough.
Right.
So I've been doing that. And Olivia Dean, ah, her album was my favorite album of last year.
Okay.
The Art of Letting Go. Like I knew her from a couple years ago when she had it's a song called Echo, and it was really good. And then that song Man I Need
Hmm.
really took off. I remember me and Victoria would go into a brunch, and I kept playing that song over and over again. I was driving, and she said, "I want you to turn that off. All I hear is da 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 da." And then a month later, I come in the house
That's
and
what
she's
you want
playing it
to
because everybody was playing it. Like it's very catchy, but the album, that song is so different from all the songs on the album though.
Okay.
But it's really good. Matter of fact, when I had that thought to make my book like a list of tracks like an album, I was listening to that. And this it's like 10, 11, 12 tracks on it. A good album doesn't extend past what it needs to do what it has to do.
Mhm.
And I was feeling that way about my book. I don't need to pad it just because I need a certain amount of pages. It shouldn't extend by past what it needs to do. If it takes me 15 poems for it to do what it needs to do, then 15 poems is what it is in the collection.
Okay. I
And I'm
no,
always listening to Janet,
of course.
always listening to Stevie. Um, a lot more Tony recently here. I'm always listening to her too, but since going to the show, just I whatever I wake up that day because they let me play music at work. I control the music. I play it on my phone, and I try to be like inclusive, but also when you walk into spaces like that and they have music playing, you don't find a lot of R&B playing.
No.
You'll find a lot of 80s rock and stuff like that. So you might walk in my branch one day. I had Roy C playing in there one day.
Okay.
Like, the stuff that I can't play. I know I have to keep it professional. So I'll go through like playlists and take off songs that I was like, I probably can't play that here.
Hmm.
But I have everything played in there and they're okay with it. They learn stuff from it. Sometimes they'll hit me up like if they see something like somebody's going on tour, like, hey, don't you like this person? They're going on tour. I just thought about you and they send it to me.
I
So
think
my mood changes every day.
I think music is the great communicator and negotiator.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think music is the one thing that like just brings us all together because it really doesn't matter who you are. A good beat is a good beat,
Mhm.
you know. I want to go back up and then we can come back here because what is a haiku?
So haiku is a Japanese um art form, and the standard one is it's 3 lines, and there's 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, 5 syllables in the third line,
Okay.
and it's usually involving nature. Although now, like I see a lot of people do it with like different things and stuff. Like mine don't usually involve nature, but that's the simple. Then there's like other forms of it too. Sonia Sanchez, the poet, she's really good at haikus. One of my professors in college,
Hmm.
he was the first black president of the haiku society in Japan. Like, so he's really really good at haikus. Professor Moore, he's one of my mentors. Um, so yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a 3 line poem, 5 syllables in the first one, 7 syllables in the second, five in the last one.
Okay. I mean I remember learning what it was, but I mean I've completely forgotten. And then whenever you said it, I was like, I need to know exactly what it is because I don't want to seem cuckoo.
So I wrote one while I was at work, and it goes like, little sparrow there resting in the morning sun, share your happy please. So that's the whole poem.
Okay. Okay. Well, people always, like even rappers will bring it up. And so I'm like, I know I've learned this in the past, but I would like to relearn what that is.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do because you gotta get everything to those 3 lines. You know what I mean? Like it's got to tell the story. It's got to get the point across. My professor, I don't know it exactly off the top of my head, but he lost his daughter when she was like I think it may have been like a car accident, and he had one where he expressed like the feeling of being in the funeral home and running his hand across the coffin, on a hot summer's day. And it was three lines, and when the way he wrote it, I can see him standing in the middle of the funeral home running his hand, and I can hear the sound of him running his hand.
Okay.
So you got to be like really good at it to get it across.
Okay. All right. I've been saying this word lately. I feel so blonde. Now, I know that you are a Janet fan. I tell you that I saw her in September?
Yes, I saw that you used the Mita Joe too. I said, all right, all right.
Because of you, I mean, I know I've known that was her name, but whenever talking about her, that is always how you refer to her. So whenever I think of her, that's what I think of. And I remember when I posted, somebody asked me that, like, why did you say that? I said, because that's her name, Janet Demita Joe Jackson.
Right.
That's who she
How
like.
was the show for you?
It was amazing. So I saw Janet Jackson in high school, which, mind you, I graduated in 1992. So it was either late 91 or early 92 when Black Cat was whatever album that was, what that was.
The Nation.
Yes,
So
that's
you
when
saw the Rhythm Nation tour.
yes, that's when I saw her. So 30 plus years ago, or almost 30 years. No, it was over 30 years ago. Um, so I was really excited to be able to go. And I mean, it was great seats. And when I tell you the only time she wasn't moving was to change clothes.
Yeah.
And she changed and she came right back. I mean, she could still dance. She could still, I mean, she could still sing. And for me, I'm gonna be honest, I don't listen to the radio a lot because I feel like the music of today and I'm not being a hater, um, like every so often, like maybe watching an awards show or something, I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh, I like that. Like Tim's, I like her.
Yeah.
But a lot of these, and I like Kaylani. Um,
Hmm.
but I just thought people don't sing the way that they used to. And hip hop, definitely, rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, it's also just not the same. So I don't listen to a lot of um, music. Like I might see a reel with a TikTok dance, and that'll make me be like, oh, what's that? Uh, but in general, I I really don't. So I prefer the singers if I'm gonna go um see someone. I want somebody who, if I see them in person, they're gonna be able to sing.
Like
For
Whitney said, I listen to singers.
you know, like Christopher, that was a very good like him and Beyonce to me are kind of like neck and neck because I haven't seen people be able to do well, New Edition, but Beyonce, Chris Brown, New Edition, Janet Jackson. Um, just to me, it's a constant performance. Like they're constantly singing and dancing. And I, and I'm sure there are other people that can do it. I haven't seen them I haven't seen them in concert. But I like a concert where from start to finish, I am entertained. And you love a good ballad where they can kind of rest and just sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even those those four, acts I just named, they all have great ballads, but that's not what they spend the majority of their time doing. They literally spend their time singing their butts off, dancing their butts off, and they're not huffing and puffing in the microphones. So I just like a good show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a concert snob because and now Leela James, she did really good. I know I just saw her, but I kind of forgot about her. but I like the people that are going to keep me entertained from start to finish. I know I just feel like a lot of the music we hear today is just a mess, and I just can't. And I try, but
Well, those people you just named, they're like the last of that generation where you had to be good to get on. Like, I know we say that now, and there were some people in our day that were not good and they got on, but it's a lot easier for a lot more of the not good people to get on nowadays.
yes, 100%. 100%. I feel like mediocrity is, I feel that in this day and age, it's more about a look. It's more about an aesthetic than it is about any true talent. Um, and that's not to knock anybody because I'm not going to sit here and name people and say this and that, but I just feel like it's more so if we put this song out, this person out, will the public gravitate to him or her? And I feel like if the answer is yes, it's not even about the quality of the music anymore. It's just, do they have a look that will sell? And if the
And
answer, go ahead.
you hear a lot of people say, like, record companies won't even look at them unless they have a built in social media already.
Hmm.
So your TikTok has to be a certain amount. But I think as consumers, not us, the people that really like music, but a lot of these, you see a lot of stan pages on like Twitter and stuff.
Hmm.
And when they argue with other stan groups, none of them are arguing about music.
No.
They are arguing about, well, how many weeks did this spend at number one? How much should this sell? They're not fans of music. They're living through the person, like the image of the person.
Right.
So it's not about the music. And I think just this era of like how they count sales and stuff, I think if you're comparing them to like when you had to go to the store to buy it, it's a lot different because we played those songs all through the night on repeat.
Hmm.
But you couldn't count that. You only got that one count for it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like when you bought it on SoundScan. Now with streaming, they just stream it all night, and each play counts as, you know what I'm saying, it helps their chart position.
Right.
So I think the charts and stuff nowadays are misleading, and people judge music by the charts now.
Correct.
People don't sit with music anymore. If something doesn't catch them on the first listen, second listen, they're calling it a classic or they're saying it's a dud.
Right. I think of some of my favorite songs from people, and they're literally not even songs that ever made it to the radio.
Mhm.
Um,
Deep thoughts.
it's right. It's just like, but it's a song that I heard and I absolutely loved it, and then I and I just played it over and over, and now it's like I don't know. I like you said, if it's not on, if they can't make a TikTok dance to it, um, it's not considered a hit, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Um, I will say this though, and I know it's so cliche to say, I am thankful that we did not have to live through the social media era because, baby, there are things
There were
I,
so many of our songs that were not hits though on the charts, but you can't tell, especially in the black community, when verses was happening and
yeah,
people were like, they were saying Mariah and Mary should go against each other. Now I'm a bigger Mariah fan,
hmm,
but the way that verses started, that is Mary's crowd. She's got
correct.
the aunties.
She,
Her songs may not have charted like Mariah's, but Mary is taking her in that verses.
100%.
And
You,
I'm a bigger Mariah fan. Mariah won for me when it came to when they did like the little scenarios and stuff.
mhm,
But a lot of, especially black music, you look at like our legends like the Isley Brothers or like some of these other stars. Their stuff didn't pop on the charts like that, but you can't tell us it wasn't number one.
correct. Because I mean, we were, matter of fact, at Leela James, they were playing, which is the new thing, and I really like that, where there's a DJ at the beginning of the concert and they're just playing music, and it kind of gets the crowd vibing and everything before the actual concert starts. And they were playing songs, And there's like a, not like, there is um a, almost 11-year difference between Glenn and I in age. So like there are songs, and he's like, Nika, how do you know this? I'm like, well, my mom, because I just like I've always loved music since I was a child. And I just like remember dance, like my mom and my aunts getting ready, and or my mom and my dad getting ready to go places, and them always playing music. So that's how I know like a lot of old music. But I feel like fast forward to when, you know, the kids are like like when kids are the 7-year olds are 52. I don't feel like they'll have that same experience that we have. And I could be wrong. They might love rethinking about some of the things they sing about these days. And when I say that, I do feel old and judgmental. Um, but I feel like it's just a little different. And I just feel like they don't make music the way they used to. And that's why a lot of those old songs, like the Isley Brothers, Luther, those songs will always live in us and through us because they're the songs of our childhood,
Yeah.
you know?
I saw somebody once say like this generation doesn't like we when we would ride with our elders, we had to listen to what they were listening to.
Right.
Like we had no choice. So we picked up the stuff from there. But they don't have to do that. They've got their phones that are mobile devices that they can play at all time. It's not gonna skip in the back seat like our CD players would. The battery's not gonna die on you like that. But I say that's a cop out because this generation, more than any other generation, has a search engine at their fingertips.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to go Google something. Like I would hear songs. I know I've heard people say that Prince fans may be the most diverse and informed music fans
Hmm.
because they'll listen to something of his and he'll mention somebody and they'll go look that person up. Well,
Hmm.
it was the same with me. I would hear some stuff and want to go learn about whoever they were talking about. You listen to your favorite artist, you're probably going to like their music too because that's where their artist got their inspiration from.
That's very true.
These kids just don't have any curiosity, but they speak as an authority on things. Like when I heard somebody call, well, this is a two American situation. Somebody called Anita Baker a one hit wonder. It was an older white lady, and I was like, who? Who's a one hit wonder? Because they only know Rapture,
Right.
Anita Baker. They don't know Anita Baker. You have these kids that called like Dionne Warwick like has-beens and they were nobody. Like you don't know Dion's history. Your fave isn't here without Dion, the
At
first
all.
black pop star. Like they just don't care. They speak as if they're authority without knowing the history.
I I was talking to somebody at work, and we were talking about Dionne Warwick, and they said, they kind of was like, wasn't she related to Whitney Houston? And I was like, no, Whitney Houston was related to her. And he was like, it's the same thing. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, because
It's not. First of all, she's older. And second of all, if it were not for Dion, we would not know Whitney. You know what I mean? And that may be that may be a little extreme, but
we wouldn't know her in the way that we know her as because the Whitney that came out and became America's Black Princess, we don't get that without Dion laying that foundation
correct. Correct.
of being, you know what I'm saying, like being I I guess Motown some in a way um they were good, but also they stifled a little bit because they presented you as the good black folk, the pure black folk. You had to have a certain image to be with Motown.
Hmm.
So they presented blackness just in a different way. And that's the way that you have these cookie cutter Dionne Warwick types and stuff that come along. But they were still black. Like they were the foundations of black music.
Amen. Amen. What do you what do you think of the state of rap music?
I I don't really listen to many rappers. I like Kendrick. I do like Kendrick. To be honest with you, before the beef happened with Drake, I stopped listening to Drake years ago because I saw the writing, I saw the way he was moving. He was moving from that ladies' man to trying to appeal to these losers, basically. These men that say, "Oh, they only want you for this, that. You should leave them like that." He was moving that way for a while, and I just let it go. I was like, "There's none of his songs that I can't live without to keep him on my playlist." I do like Kendrick. I like Jid, one of J. Cole's dudes, whatever Jid. I like him. I like Wale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of the new ones per se. Like I think the newest person I probably listened to last time was Corday. But
I,
he had a good mix of the old school rapping and like the new generation.
I don't even know who that is.
He dated the tennis player, is it Naomi Osaka?
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
it was him.
Is
Um
that her baby daddy?
mhm,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. But his the Lost Boy album was really good. I just don't like the new rap, how they rap, like what they consider like a flow.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can, and I know that you're a music lover, so I 100% I agree, and I also see it. Are there like little catchy tunes and stuff? Yes. Um, but I don't think it's sustainable. Like not saying sustainable. I mean, whatever the music industry is willing to put their money into to a certain extent is sustainable. But I mean, I don't feel like 50, 60 years from now, anybody is going to be listening to that. Like, when you think about,
Like the beat's not gonna drop and everybody's gonna run to the floor because it dropped.
right, you know, I just, and don't, and I think when people think that we're hating when we say stuff like that, but I don't think people realize like we had songs that were completely party songs. There was no message other than the party. But to this day, when we hear that song, it still is the same party song. Like you still are like, yeah, you know what I mean? And everybody's on
Yeah.
the floor. I just feel like they're not doing that anymore. And I feel like it's the let's make a hurry up and make a hit for TikTok. What can we get a TikTok dance to? And that's, I mean, listen, people are becoming millionaires off of the TikTok dances and the beat. So I get it. I understand why, but I just wish there was a little bit more depth to what we're getting. Um I know people, this is not a popular opinion, but I've never been a Nicki Minaj fan.
Girl, I liked Itty Bitty Piggy, and there was probably one other that I liked, but I could never get into it. I
I
could never get into it like that.
I liked Moment for Life. Like if I hear that
That's the one. That's the one that I liked.
I can from top to bottom. But for me, her energy was just always what she's giving now is to me what she's always been. I have never nothing, all hail the black women. I support and love them all, but I've just never been a Nikki fan. And in this season that she's in right now, it's just like I've been telling y'all. Um, and I know that there are people who are like, Cardi is no better. It for me, sometimes it's all entertainment, number one.
Mhm.
But for me, it's the energy that I feel like Cardi gives versus the energy that Nicki gives. Um, so I wasn't a person that I liked Nicki and then Cardi came out and I didn't like, no, I never liked her. And Cardi just like entertained me from, um, what's the name of that show? Love and Hip Hop. And then so just because of that is where I, followed her. And I mean, she made questionable decisions 100%. But I just feel like her energy is way, way different.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's,
Cardi's really smart if you listen to her talk. Like
yeah, yeah.
she's aware of like what's happening around her. I'm not the biggest fan of the music. Like there's some songs I do listen to. She sampled Janet and I was just like, she could have left that alone. But
Mm.
if Janet's gonna get credit for it, let's go for it with it. But It is what it is. If it's not for me, I just don't listen to it.
Hmm.
I've learned that I don't comment on things. If someone posts something, I let people have their moment with their face because I have mine.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I'm not really the biggest Cardi fan either. I like Meg, but I think I give her the same thing that I gave Little Kim. Like I like Little Kim, but I can't listen to that all the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was a bigger Eve fan. I love Eve.
Yes, I would.
Eve was the first rapper that I was like, oh, I like her flow. I like how she's rapping. Like she was the first female rapper for me like that.
Yeah, of course, loved Eve, loved Lil Kim. You know, it's really funny because Sexy Red, um, and only Sexy Red songs I know are whatever, like I hear people say, like, I don't think I've ever listened to a single of her songs.
I know
Um,
I haven't.
but I know I had to check myself because there's a couple of her songs, and I'm just like, what on earth? And then because a lot of times when I do listen to music in my car, it's just my curated playlists, and I can go from trapping on the corner to country, and I don't mean Beyonce country, I mean country, all in like in a 15-minute span. Like if you get in the car with me, like you don't know what you're gonna get because I just am a lover of good music.
Yeah.
And so as I'm listening to the stuff I listen to, and no shade to Beyonce because I loved Cowboy Carter. I wasn't saying it for that reason. I'm just saying like Garth Brooks, um, Conway Twitty, country. But I was driving and Trina comes on and it's You Don't Know Nan. And I'm like, and as I'm rapping word for word, I literally am driving down the road and I'm going word for word and I stop. I'm like, oh, I can't say nothing else about Sexy Red. Like literally, that was the thought that came to my mind. I was like, I can't talk trash about Sexy Red no more because what? Yeah.
This
But
is where yeah, I give the youth grace because we had our music that our parents were like, "What are y'all listening to?" But
mhm.
then you go back and you listen to Rory C talking about a woman cheating on her husband and a man hitting him in the balls because he thought it was bells. Like you had that stuff even further back than that. So you give them grace. I just don't want to listen to it.
Right.
I just don't want to listen to it though because it's not good. At least like when we had Kaya, my neck, my back, she had a nice flow. It was
Yeah.
a good song. This stuff is just like unlistenable. Like they're talking on tracks, it seems like. I think it's a generational difference too, because when the rap that we had is different than Sugar Hill Gang,
Mhm.
like Slick Rick flow.
Yeah.
The flows just change, but I just think this generation's flows are not there. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like,
Well, I know I agree. And I feel like, Migos, which I'm not like what's the song they have that I just like stir fry. Like I know it's probably, and of course everybody likes Bad and Bougie. Um, but the thing I think also is if you look at Pac, Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, LL, uh, Father MC, Sugar Hill Gang, Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, NWA, whoever you want to look at from back in the day, my younger days, there was something different about all of them. They all had their own thing.
yeah,
Um, Even if they had, like, even if you have a versus, like you say, if Jay-Z plays this, then Nas will play that. If Biggie played this, then Pac will play. Like, even though they have those, they were all vastly different in who they presented themselves to be and who and not just who but also how they presented themselves. They were all just different artists, and I feel like now you have Migos and you have the Migos ta 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 ta. Like you have that, and that's where that like that's the first place I ever heard that little is it called a cadence. um
mhm.
and now it's like it's a thing.
Like
So
everybody does it.
Right, you
You
know,
don't know who's singing until like they tell you at the end. A Jay
correct.
Z song comes on, you know it's Jay Z.
You know it's like it's Jigga Man, and I just feel like that's same, with LL. I just feel like we have so lost the originality
Hmm.
that it's crazy. Because if you think about, if you going back to R&B, if you look at New Edition, Boys to Men, Jodeci, Shy, H-Town, Troop, like those were all, oh, High Five, those were all crooners, okay? But they were all different. Like they were all different. Right now, if I could play a song from each one of them, I even if I think about it, I can probably name a song from each one of them, but they're all different songs. Man, New Edition is so diverse that you have four different acts, five different acts, technically, within one group.
Yeah.
They're all diverse, but then when you look at, today, Usher, you have Chris Brown, a Tank, what's that other boy? Tyrese.
Neo, you got Mario, you got
Neo. But
oh,
again,
they do have some singers and stuff. They're not going to be pushed in the algorithm. You're really not going to hear them. Like I learned about new singers because I still follow blogs. Like Rated R&B is a real blog for R&B.
I
So
remember.
I find out music through there because I'm not going to find it on the. I don't listen. I can't tell you the last time I listened to the radio. To be honest with you,
I mean, yeah. So that's what, so that's where I just feel like it's more with rap than anything. Like I said, I really like Kaylani, and if it wouldn't be for the folded root, because one of my god sisters loves her, and so that's how I really. And then she had that. Doesn't Is it her? No, she don't have the baby for Kyrie. They dated, right?
they dated. Yeah, yeah.
That's the first time like I ever heard of her, really. And even then I didn't know who she was or anything. But
But
then
even Kaylani is very brandy coded.
okay,
So
so
the ones
that's
that study the ones before them,
yes.
they're good artists. You can
So
tell who like appreciates music.
now that you say that, that's who it is because I did tell Glenn, I said, she reminds me of somebody. I cannot put my finger on it. It's Brandy. Now that you say it, I couldn't figure it out. But again, Brandy, Monica, Aaliyah, they were all in that era together and always put in competition together. Give me one split second. It never fails. Every single episode, I have to stop at least once to deal with my dogs. My apologies. Um, but they were all put in competition, but they were all just so vastly different. And I appreciate that. And I maybe just have to start listening, see if I can find my own people to listen to, because I still listen to a lot of old music.
Now I
Every
can send you some stuff of like the newer stuff that I listen to if you want. And I appreciate anybody sending me music too because I don't catch everything. You know what I mean?
right.
I like for people to share music with me. I like that.
I am a music lover. To me, it's probably comes from growing up where you wake up on a Saturday or morning and the music is going, and it's time to clean up and listen to music. And then my dad, he worked offshore, and when he got off from the oil rig on Thursdays, there was a store in Lake Charles called Frederick's. It was a little purple store, and it was a music store, and he always went and got us music on. Like I always knew I was getting music on Thursdays. And then like I grew up in a little country town, so we didn't have like I didn't grow up with cable. But on the rig, he had satellite. So he would make videotapes full of music videos. Blue, stop it. Can you hear her?
Yeah. You mentioned like Brandy and Monica and Usher and stuff. I want to go back. I don't know if you remember, but I remember, and I thought about it when a New Edition is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They should get in. I know when their biopic came out, and I was talking with my brother because we always debating on something, and I was like, because people was like, oh, they need to do a Boys the Men one next. You know what I'm saying? Which they do, but I was like, New Edition is more important to the culture than
Hmm.
Boys the Men is. And he was like, nah, nah, nah. And then I texted you because I'm like, well, she a New Edition fan. She agree with me. And he was like, I love them, but no, Boys the Men is. I was meaning in the sense that not record sales, because we know Boys the Men crossed over pop. They got two of the longest running #1 hits on Billboard. We don't get Boys the Men.
Without New Edition.
We don't get New Kids on the Block. You don't get Backstreet Boys. You don't get NSYNC.
Yeah.
You don't get 98 Degrees. You don't get these other people.
Was it
Without Brandy and Monica, and you don't get Britney in the sense, you don't get Christina, because they were following the blueprint of what Brandy was doing as a teen star.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch their interviews, Britney talks about loving Brandy. The producers on Christina's debut album talks about, oh, she was listening to a lot of Brandy and Mariah in the studio. Like, these artists are foundational in the sense that they sparked a whole another, I don't want to say genre, but you don't get the modern boy band without New Edition.
Correct.
So when I say like they're more important to the culture, they are. And when I went to that concert and I saw my mama and people her age, how they were like fangirling, I like, this is so cool to see, because this is how I would be if I went to see the Backstreet Boys,
Right.
because they were my New Edition. I'm so mad that the concert got canceled because of COVID some years ago, because I was going to see them. But I felt so much joy watching them go back to their teen selves, because I thought about myself in my room with my posters on the wall, me playing my CDs, and they did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of thing we're talking about. Like, this new generation isn't going to have with their artists, because they're probably not going to be around long enough to tour into old age.
No. Especially with the in the God, heaven forbid the drug culture, because there are things that um I feel that had, and our generation had drugs too, but
Yeah.
it was,
I mean, Bobby was heavy on it, but we don't get Usher in the way that we get Usher without Bobby.
but it was a secret. You
Yeah.
like when our when
It was
our
an open secret with a lot of them. For we didn't know, but the
right,
industry knew.
like the industry knew, but
Yeah.
now it's like it's everybody knows. You know what I mean? Like it's no longer
They talk about it in their songs, it's not taboo. It's not going to ruin your career if they find out. Like, we joke about, well, they joke about Bruno Mars and his coke, him and Anderson Paak. It's like an open joke, whatever.
right.
I
I
just think some of it is on the consumer too, because if someone does try something different, I've seen new artists try stuff different, and then their fans reject them for it.
Yeah,
And then they turn around and go back to the same thing they've been doing. So they don't allow them any room to grow. They did, I mean, they did that with Usher too. After Confessions, Here I Stand dropped, and he was never gonna top Confessions, just like Mike, as far as sales go, was
mhm,
never gonna top Thriller. You always have that one album that you're not gonna top that sales wise, mainstream wise. But they just kind of like wrote it off a little bit because it wasn't like Confessions. So sometimes we're unfair to artists because we don't allow them to grow. And then they revert back to doing some stuff, and some of them chase trends because they're just trying to stay relevant.
and I feel like that's where we kind of, well, where they lose their authenticity, and then the thing, because I hate to bring this man up, but I think about 50 Cent and Ja Rule, because the very thing that 50 Cent literally used to annihilate Ja Rule's career, he literally
He
turned around.
started doing,
He did the exact same thing,
and
and
he didn't do it as well as Ja Rule
at
either.
all, at all, at all, and I feel like even though, you know, I guess we can all say he won that beef, that battle. I feel like he may have won, but we lost because we lost because Ja Rule was doing it. And
Yeah,
regardless of whether it was bubblegum, whether it was pop, whether whatever, it was great. It was great. Like um, you go on Apple Music and you say create a playlist of Ja Rule, Ashanti, like that whole era, and you're jamming the whole time, the whole time.
yeah.
50 Cent has a couple of songs here and there that really, but 50 Cent to me just doesn't have enough songs that for me are like, oh yes, like I really want to hear that. Like that's just me. To to each his own.
I
But
think his music aged in the same way that Eminem's did. And when that big thing was happening about him and Ti is wiping the floor with him in the verse, first of all.
yeah,
But when that happened and you had the 50 Cent fans coming, all they were showing was monthly listeners and stuff like this. Oh, he was just on a tour. Well, yeah, 50 Cent was on a tour because he got that white push from Eminem's fan base. He had Eminem backing him. So, of course, if Eminem co signs him, his fans are going to follow right behind and say fifth grade, fifth that. But that music dipped the second album.
yeah,
Like after that first album, the quality just dropped.
I agree. And not only did it the quality dropped, um and I don't know, as to me as he's gone along and his what's the word? His where you would think he's growing and he should to me with all the successes you've had in life, you're still a miserable little man.
And
Um
that's the root of it.
and that's just that. And I get that that may not be the popular opinion. I get that that may be offensive to some, but I would not want to be a 50-year-old still walking around being pickified for a living. I wouldn't want that to be me.
That's all he got. That's why he had nobody to come out and defend him. T.I.'s whole family came out.
Oh,
Like everybody got them a piece.
the whole family. What a smile on their faces. Yeah, I don't know. I just um
Numbers can't keep you warm at night or keep you company because they fade too. So eventually, you ain't gonna have 50 million people listening to you on Spotify.
right.
And some of these people probably subscribe to it and don't even go back and listen to you. You just got monthly listeners because they've subscribed to you.
Yeah, and not some no not people that's actively listening and engaging and really wanting to hear because I feel like if people really wanted to hear more, we'd have got another album by now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Who else I want? What else did I want to ask you about? How oh, the sipping. So I did not sip today because I knew that you weren't sipping, but I did make me a concoction that you got to try. Do, but you
You could have sipped. You could have sipped. I'm fine with it.
uh
You know, on the seashore, I'm gonna have to get used to being around the sipping without sipping. I'm just taking the year off.
uh-huh.
Every year I usually take like the first couple of months off anyway. Like last year, I did 100 days of no drinking, and I was like, I'm gonna go a step further this year and just take the whole year and not drink, because baby, I can put it down.
Yeah.
I can put it down, but I just felt like I needed to take a break from it. And what I always learned in the first 100 days anyway, I do enjoy the taste of whiskey. I'm
Mhm.
not drinking just to drink. You won't catch me drinking a beer because it's nasty. You won't catch me drinking tequila because I don't like the taste. So I'm not drinking the drink. I actually do enjoy the taste, but I found that when I can't drink, a lot of times I drink out of boredom because I don't have anything to do. So I'm just sitting around. So I put a glass in my hand.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to figure out how to deal with that. And when there's grief or like I'm going through something, I pick up the bottle and drink. I'm just trying to find alternatives instead of picking up the bottle every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in a lot of ways my grief has manifested in hyper ideas. Like I feel like
If you stay busy.
yeah, yeah. And of course I still have moments where it ain't enough business on earth to keep me uh from, being sad or upset or whatever. But I feel like in general that has been my coping mechanism,
Yeah.
you know.
Drinking was it for me. I told my cousin like a year, I think Ruby had passed, that I had got to the point where I wasn't playing music. Like I didn't want to listen to music. But I would drink every day. But I wouldn't I just didn't have the capacity to sit with it. I didn't want to hear it, you know. So it was just me with a drink in my hand. Which is crazy for me to say that I didn't want to listen to music, you know?
Hmm.
But that was a step in it and in my grief, whatever, and trying to work things out. And I realized because I socially drink, and then I don't need anybody to drink with me. I'll make, I'm always mixing something. I'll mix me a little drink and sit in the house and watch a game or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I just had to find a different way to cope with it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll come home from work now, I'm like, man, I really need a drink because these people just did the most today. But I just had to find a different way to distress instead of like picking up a bottle.
Yeah. And honestly, because it's not funny, but I don't know another word to say, weird to say that you haven't wasn't listening to music, because when I think of you, I think of music. Like when I hear certain songs, I think about you, and when I hear certain new songs or like a new artist, I'll think about, which I was telling my gossip yesterday, I need to do um a better job of saying hey and reaching out. But even like when I hear like a new artist or a new song, um, I think of you, because when I think of you, I think of music. So, but grief, if I can't tell you nothing else, I could tell you it does things to you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not linear. It sometimes I usually when I'm at work and I told my friend at work, she's my good friend at work, if I'm playing my gospel playlist, it's because I'm thinking about Aunt Ruby or my grandma. And that makes me feel closer to play that. Because I'm not Christian. I don't really do the religion thing. I'm more spiritual, I guess you could say. But if I'm playing that gospel playlist, I'm trying to get to a place to make myself okay.
Yeah. It's I agree with you when it comes to religion. I feel like people worry too much about the religions and not spirituality. When we were in Italy, we went to St. Peter's Basilica. And for the most part, I guess it's part of like the Roman Catholic world, but the Bible is the Bible. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
like being in there, I feel, um, and when we did St. Peter's Basilica, it was not a guided tour, because so like when you are in Europe and probably anywhere, you can get these, like if you want to go to this famous place, like a landmark, you can have a guided tour, and it's not like it's a person, and this person is walking you through and talking to you and showing you everything. And so that's what we had booked that for: St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican, and what other thing did we do that same day? Oh, it was just those two, I believe. And so long story short, they called us and was like, "Hey, we got to push you back till this time." And I'm like, "Well, we have a cooking class at this time." So they said, "Well, if you want to go ahead and go to the Basilica, you can go now. You can get your tickets, but it won't be a guided tour. Like you won't, you'll be by yourself." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool, you know." And I really enjoyed that because I just got to see, and just being in the presence of the things, I felt, um, I guess, a connection is the easiest way to put it, more so than I did when I was in the Vatican. Because in the Vatican, they was telling me stuff I really could care less about. There were, there were things that were interesting. Like I didn't know until I was in the Vatican that the Vatican is actually, the reason why it's called Vatican City is because it's actually separate from Italy. Um, it's like its own thing, even though it's in Italy,
Mhm.
uh, for whatever reason. And so I don't remember the name of the Pope, but there was a Pope who lived there for 25 years, basically in prison because of the ongoing battle between um, the Vatican, the church, and the state. So, and then, of course, you heard about, Michelangelo and all that. And then, oh, the Sistine Chapel. That
Mhm.
was that was the other thing that to which the Sistine Chapel was as beautiful as it was. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time in there because it was just like overcrowded, but it was really, really beautiful. But being in because St. Peter's Basilica, of course, was a church at some point. And then whenever I saw Pope John Paul II's tomb, which is a funny story, I'll tell you offline because it's so embarrassing. But I'll tell you, I already brought. So anyway, so the popes and stuff are actually for real deal buried there. So it's like that is their actual tomb in St. Peter's Basilica. So if you are ever there and you see Pope whoever, that is really him, like his remains. So at certain parts, like you could go right up, but then in other parts, it was like a rope and then chairs. And so people could go and sit and all of that. Well, I couldn't get a good picture because I just wanted a good picture because that's the first Pope that I really remember in my lifetime. Like I remember him. So I just wanted a good picture. So I stepped across the rope and I took my camera out, and this lady comes over and she's like, "No, no, 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 no." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was embarrassed. So I kind of like walked away. And then she came and got me. She's like, "Come back and take your picture." And I was like, I thought I couldn't take a picture. And I really was confused because I'm like, well, how come I could take pictures over there but not over here? And so she's like, that's literally his tomb. So you can take a picture behind the rope. You can't take it but in front of it. Like, oh, okay. I was so funny. She's like, but it was so funny because she felt bad, but she's like, come back and take your picture. I was so ashamed. Uh, but so, and then Glenn was like, I didn't know you were Catholic. I was like, because I'm not. Like, and then he was like, and I was like, but it's just and I feel like sometimes with religion, we're so caught up in, if you're Catholic, this, and if you're Baptist, this, and if you're Jewish, this, and if you're this. Whereas at the end of the day, like it's all just God. You know what I mean? And it's about having a relationship with Him. And however you can do that, just do it. Like it doesn't have to be the way that man instructs you. And I just wish people would see it that way. But
I think for maybe 15 years now, I think I fall more on the spectrum of agnostic. I don't know. There's a way to know. So I kind of live my life as if there isn't. But people, the way you treat people, so I guess you can say I'm more of a humanist
hmm
because people are more important than an idea that might not be real. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I I've been like this for a while. I've been like this for a while.
Yeah, we've talked. I mean, I no, I
Yeah.
agree with you because I feel like if you are if it you know if you are a believer in God but you're a shitty human, to me it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because I don't believe that's how he asks you to behave. That is, I am a firm believer in that. And I think people in general think because you run to the church every time the doors are open, that means you're going to heaven, and it doesn't. Um, and I
People think you don't know like right from wrong because you don't. Like I don't know if you saw my Facebook used to get really, really,
oh yeah.
my posts used to have like hundreds of comments and stuff, and I'd be going one against four sometimes, but you ain't about to back me down. But just recently after the Charlie Kirk thing, I had posted something and somebody came in my comments and he was like, because I was like, I don't lead with empathy anymore. I don't mourn the wicked.
Hmm.
And he was like, well, who decides what's wicked? This guy came in my comments. And I was like, I do. What do you mean, like, who decides what's wicked? I do. And then he goes on to this whole thing about he's trying to get onto religion because I know who he is. And I kind of stop him. Like, I know where you're about to go. I don't do that. So it doesn't matter to me about that. But if you have to have something like that that keeps you from saying this is wrong, this is right, what does that say about you? Like, you should just know, like, have empathy naturally and be like, "Nah, this doesn't sound right. I don't care what this book says or what this ideology says. Like, this just feels wrong. It's not right." And I can't get by with Christianity for that matter because all these people that I saw that were good Christians, I saw some of them later. Like, I didn't know they unfriended me because I don't really care. But I saw them on the people you may know, and I was like, oh, when they unfriend me, because you want me as a black woman to show grace and forgive this guy who was about to say something racist before he got clipped. You want me to show him grace after he spent his time here on earth denigrating me and people that look like me, calling me stupid. I'm not worth it. If I make my like if I work hard to get to a position, I didn't get that because I worked hard. I got it just because of what I look like. You want me to show them grace, but it
No,
doesn't matter how I feel.
yeah.
Like, what does it say about you and the God that you serve that I must forgive this person? Does you and the God that you serve not care about my feelings in the situation? It's the same thing that's happening with the Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo thing with the
Correct.
N word. You don't care how I feel about it. We always must show grace as Black people.
But
We
nobody.
gotta stifle what we feel to make others comfortable. Oh, they didn't mean it like that. Oh, then you have to show grace. Well, if that's the way it is and that's the heaven you're trying to get to, I don't want to be up there anyway. I always joke and say, I ain't trying to get to the land of milk and honey. I'm lactose intolerant. So what I'm gonna do with the milk? I don't care about it. I'm just trying to live my life and be a good person and stand up for what I believe in and have good morals. I don't need somebody standing over my shoulder watching me to make sure that I do it the correct way or do it the right way.
I think that I don't really know a way to put. I know I made a post and I basically said killing shit, and everybody thought that I was saying in his defense, and that wasn't my point. My point was this same day that he got shot, the very same day there was a school shooting. Nobody cared about that. Even and the kids who were murdered looked like him, but y'all weren't worried about that. You were worried about him because of who he, like, at the end of the day, I just feel like people only care about what they care about. It's the same thing with the Orangeman and his followers, and how people assume that, oh, you how did somebody make the comment? Black people only voted for Barack Obama because he was black. That did happen. There were 100% people that made that decision. 100%. But there's also the people that voted for him because of what he stood for. And the same thing with that man that's currently in the White House now. There are people who vote for him because of the things that he says. There are people who literally vote for him because of the racist, ignorant stuff that he says. And so I feel like um I don't care what anybody says. I feel like white folks, I I can see why a billionaire would vote for him. I'm gonna just put it out there. I know that's not the popular opinion, but I could see why certain business people would vote for him because of what he stands for. Anytime there's a
Yeah,
Republican,
classism is a thing. He's cutting them breaks, so of course they will.
you
But
know,
at the same time, like, well, there's no ethical billionaires, so we can wipe that off the thing. I don't care how much they give to charity. You can't reach that amount of money without taking advantage of someone at some point. There's no way to reach that level.
correct. So you have so like, but I could, anytime there's a Republican in office, the the rich benefit from that. Even if you didn't vote that way. You know what I mean? Like I'm not being funny. Even if you didn't vote for, because
You're
I
gonna
know
benefit.
some filthy rich Democrats, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
when there is a Republican in office, the rich get richer. It is just how it works. Um, but I feel like there is a vast subset of people who um, and I'm not going to say white people, but I'm going to say prejudiced people, racist people who looked at Barack Obama and are still mad that he decided that his black ass was good enough to be president of the United States of America and won. Period. The end.
Yeah.
And the first chance and their answer to that was DJT.
Hmm.
And it is what it is. I don't nobody will make me feel different. And again, I don't feel that everybody who voted for him believe that way, but I believe that the vast majority do. And you can't make me believe anything other because there is nothing about him that's presidential. He wanted to build the wall ain't there. He wanted to drain the swamp ain't drained. Nothing, only thing that he he paraded around about that's happening is all his racist rhetoric. That's it.
Yeah.
So
And these people, this is their they parade around as if they aren't racist. But I always say, like, with Trump, it's not a politics thing. This is a morality thing because, and I always say it's a cop out when people say the two things I don't talk about are religion and politics.
that's
If
bullshit.
I ask you who you voted for and you're not ashamed, you shouldn't have a problem telling me who you voted for. I feel like white people use that as a cop out more than anything. They don't share who they voted for. Because I actually asked my coworkers that after the election, and I know for certain one who me and a Hispanic coworker, we had a conversation. I know she did. The other ones wouldn't say. If you don't think it would offend me for you to say you voted for him, why won't you just tell me?
Well, I don't for some people because we were talking about giving people grace. I feel like they just don't know any better. I feel like there are people who are Republican because that's what somebody told them that that's what they needed to do. Because in all honesty, and I told this to this lady at work, and she looked me dead in my face. And she's like, "You're right," and I couldn't help but laugh because I'm like, this is the weirdest conversation I've ever had with anybody. Because she likes him, and she will tell you that she likes him, and I'm like, "But why do you like him? Because he doesn't like you." And she's like, "You're right," and I was like, "Okay."
That's upholding because the other side of voting for him was a black woman, and you know
No,
how we get treated. You know
one
how we get treated.
100%. And so, and as we just kept talking, and I told her, I said, here's my thing. I said, if a rich person voted for him, I 100% understand why. I'm not giving them a pass. That's not it. I just have common sense. And the things that he's talking about, the breaks and all of that, that would affect a rich person's wallet. So I understand why they would vote for him. The first and the second time. More so the first than the second, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm literally looking at you and I am telling you, you don't make enough money for any of the things that he talks about to even affect you. The things that he's talking about changing will affect you in a negative way. They're not going to help you. He's not looking to help you. And on top of that, he doesn't think that you are worthy of the same level of life as he is. So, with that said, why do you like him?
Because they hate us more than they like him.
And she's like, he just tells it like it is. I said, but he thinks you're not. And I'm like, you know what? Never mind. You're free to think however you want to think. I'm not
That
even.
tells it like it is he talks about you Negroes in a way that I can't say without getting consequences for.
You're right. And but it's like, but from and then whenever she walked out the room, like another person was in there and they was like you just made me feel bad. I was like, well, first of all, don't have a conversation with me about anything that you don't want to know my honest answer. Like, because before we started talking, I said to you, are you sure this is a conversation you want to have with me? Your answer was yes. So now, and I said, so now, like, I'm choosing my words where I'm speaking facts, but I'm also being polite and businesslike whenever I'm saying this. And so then another person, was in their room and he was like, um that's why I don't speak business or politics. And that person said the same thing you said. They said, that's bullshit. This is not about not business and politics, religion and politics. She's like, this isn't about religion. It's not about politics. It's about right versus wrong. And
Mhm.
people keep using that as an excuse whenever you can just say, like, listen, I care more about this than I do that. And that's fine. Like if and then he also couldn't give a reason for why not Kamala. And I'm like, please don't say because of the way that she laughs, because I don't know a woman, white, black, purple, or green with a good laugh. You know what I mean? Like, and not a true laugh. I mean, we all have a fake laugh that probably sounds cute to someone. But if you really listen to me laugh, I sound like a snorting pig mixed with a hyena, depending on
Yeah.
how funny it is. You know what I mean? So what are you talking about? But you know, and I always say this, Barack Obama wrote a book titled The Audacity of Hope. And he, he stood on business and I'm happy for that. But I feel like Black Americans will be paying for that audacity for a long time to come. And I'm not
Yeah.
putting that blame on him. I don't, I'm not saying it like that at all. I'm just saying in general, it's almost like the slave mentality of this ninja done got too big for his britches. And that is period, point blank, end of discussion, how I feel that the majority of people feel.
I mean, we've really been paying for the audacity since the civil rights movement.
Yeah, there's
Like
also
we pay for our audacity every day of our lives since we were kids, to be honest with you. If you're black, you pay for your audacity every single day.
every day. Listen, I um I say this all the time. There will be people, Glenn is in a position of leadership at work, and there will be people who will say, he can't tell me what to do. And it's like, and I almost like my head swivels. And so this one person was like, well, that's your boyfriend. I said, no, he wears a title. Westgate literally pays him to tell people what to do. What the hell do you mean he can't tell
Tell
what?
you what to do.
Like that's what Westgate literally pays him. Pays him to tell you what to do. I promise you. But it's that mentality of stay in your place, no, my place is
Mhm.
where I want it to be. But
It's
yeah,
okay for you to get yours as long as you don't get it over me.
amen. 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 Anything else you want to talk about today?
Oh, mm, if there's anything else you want to talk about,
No, I think we've had a good conversation.
I did. I needed this.
Same, same. I do want to say that I love you and I thank you for coming and sipping something with me this Sunday. And I'm going to get to editing, and I'll let you know when it's posted.
Well, I love you too. We do need to get together at some point.
Yes, we do.
I have this vacation time and I only use my vacation time to go to concerts usually. Like, but I do need to use it for something else eventually.
Okay. Well, shoot, let's find it. I'm okay with finding a concert to go to.
I am sipping something. It's how do you say it? Like a aperitif.
What is
It's
it?
non-alcoholic though. It's like It's like a bitter drink people usually drink before like they have their meals. It's like a light refresher.
Okay.
And it doesn't have as much alcohol as other alcoholic drinks do. Like I think um like a French 75 might be one.
Love the French.
But I have the non-alcoholic one, whatever.
Okay.
It's a sparkling one. It's nasty. Oh, it's so bitter. So I'm gonna drink it though because I paid $16 for the 4 pack. So I'm gonna drink it. So I had one the other night and I was like, I'm just gonna doctor it up. So I added like some blood orange ginger beer.
Okay.
I've got a blackberry lemonade, sparkling water.
Okay.
I've got some Sprite and some grenadine just to sweeten it up a little bit because oh, it was so nasty. I was so disappointed when I cracked that can. It
Oh,
was so nasty.
when I all I did was I took some sparkling water, um, and a little bit of Simply, what's it called? The Simply brand strawberry lemonade, just to give it a little flavor. But when I hang up, I'm gonna sip on some rosé.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably sip on this along with my beef and broccoli that I cooked today.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love you, and we will carry on offline and make plans to get together.
All right. Love you too.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.